Hey there, Taurus, and welcome to your week of January 17th, 2022 tarot reading. We're going to look at your energy over here on the left, some challenges for you here in the center, and some outcomes over here on the right. We're going to clarify all these cards as we go along, tie everything off with an oracle card. They're general readings, so if it resonates, that's great. If it doesn't, don't try to force it, but without further ado, here is your energy this week. We got Strength, Justice, and the Page of Swords. So Strength is Leo's card and Justice is Libra's card. So you may have one or both of those signs in your chart. So that's really awesome. That's good if you're coming in when you're in your own reading. It means you're coming in a strong way. So I like that. That's really great to start things off. But Strength card, you're very strong at this time. And not necessarily physically. Strength is more of an aura. It's more of like you're putting out a strong aura. People are very attracted to you at this time. They can tell you're a go-getter. You can get things done. You're competent, right? It's very beautiful kind of energy to be in. I love it. With Justice here too, I feel like you're in this very balanced energy, very much fair, very much trying to make sure everyone's taken care of and well to do, right? The scales of justice, of course, and you have a very good sense, I feel, of like what's right and wrong at this time as well. So I like that. That's really good. And we got the Page of Swords here as well on top of this. And the Page of Swords tells us that you really want to, you're kind of like a reach out communicative kind of way, or at least you have a lot on your mind at this time that you're trying to clarify, right? Because the Page of Wands here, or the Page of Swords here has their head in the clouds. And it's sort of to say like they don't necessarily have full clarity on what they're trying to like suss out here at this time, right? Oh, pardon me. So maybe you're thinking about, work or relationships or family or whatever it may be, like even friends and stuff, like whatever the case may be, you're trying to get some clarity here. And maybe you need to reach out to someone, talk to them, maybe help them kind of clear the air here at this time. So I'm liking that. That's some good energy to be in. At least I feel like you're open to that idea of like reaching out to somebody too. So let's get some clarifiers for this before we move on to your challenges. Look at that. We got the Six of Swords here. We also have, to go with this, the Two of Wands. I love it. And the Knight of Swords too. Good. And so that's great. The Knight of Swords and the Page of Swords lining up here is what I was talking about reaching out to someone. Pages are a little more information gatherers than they are action takers, and the Knights are more action takers, right? So there it is. That's kind of like you want to reach out to somebody and you're willing to do it. So that's great. That's a good energy to be in. That's like you're willing to reach out if you can't figure it out on your own. So that's great. With the Six of Swords talks about being kind of in rough, turbulent airs and coming into calm ones and gentle ones here in the future, right? You can almost see that as they're kind of, you look at the land here is a little rough terrain, but further on it kind of smooths out a bit. It just means you're heading into a good place. Maybe things are a little rough, or maybe you were in a little bit of a rough place and things have kind of settled down now, but that's great. That's like you really in being in a place of stability. Speaking of stability, we have the Two of Wands here, which is a card of stability. It's also a card of travel and a card of, looking towards the future. You can see this guy, he's kind of mulling over this map with his magnifying glass, like where could I go next? What should I do next, right? We also have some movement with the Six of Swords here, and the Knight of Swords is also the fastest moving knight in the deck. So there's maybe some travel here in your future, or maybe you have like a need or a want for travel at this time as well. So that's really beautiful. So let's look at some potential challenges here for you, Taurus. What do we have going on here for our Tauruses? Taurusi? I'm not sure how you say plural for that. But we got the Nine of Wands, the Nine of Pentacles, and the Hermit. Wow, a couple nines here. I feel like completions might be a bit of a challenge for you this week. It's almost like you're so close but so far away with two nines here. It's kind of like, oh man, we're right on the doorstep, but we're not quite there yet. So interesting there. With the Hermit here, it's the sign of Virgo, their card. So you may have Virgo in your chart. You might be dealing with a Virgo this week as well. But the Hermit really saying, again, we're having a bit of like lack of clarity here, right? Because the Hermit normally has reached the mountaintop with the star in their lantern guiding themselves forward here. It feels like maybe at this time, maybe you're not really sure what you want, right? Like you're willing to reach out, and maybe this is what you're trying to suss out with the Page of Swords, is you're trying to figure out like, okay, what do I really want here? And maybe you need to talk to somebody. And once you figure it out, you want to reach out. And maybe we're just continuing like that kind of trend, that kind of cloud, that fog of like not knowing where we want to go next here. And that's why the completions are also a little off here as well. With the Nine of Wands, you might be you might be feeling a little hurt at this time. You know, maybe feeling like something hasn't gone your way exactly, and that's kind of upsetting. Or it might be feeling in a way like you're kind of trying to keep people out right now, while, you know, you're trying to keep people back while you figure things out too. Or maybe that's how you're coming off, not really how you're intending. Maybe you're trying to reach out to people, but people know you have a reputation of wanting to figure this stuff out on your own. And with the Nine of Pentacles as well, you may just feel like you really need to reach out to somebody to help out, because you maybe feel like you don't, or maybe feel like you can't do this on your own. You can't figure this stuff out by yourself. You need someone to bounce ideas off of, or you need someone to talk to, or a shoulder to cry on, or something, or someone just to kind of point you in the right direction, or a direction at least, right? So let's see what kind of clarifiers we got for you here. Got the Four of Wands popping out here for us. We also got the Page of Swords again, and the Ten of Wands. So there's that completion we want. The Ten of Wands is a card of a lot of stresses and anxieties that have been weighing us down. You know, feeling kind of like the weight of the world is on our shoulders. Like this person here is trying to get this portrait done of this person here. Like, and those kind of things are quite difficult, right? Doing portraits like that with someone like just sitting there in place, and you're trying to like get things figured out. It can kind of feel like someone's just watching you work, right? And I'm one of those people that as soon as you start watching me work, I just start to crumble, right? It's almost like everything I know or do kind of just goes out the window. So that might be something where you're kind of stressing out about that, where it's like people are kind of maybe waiting for an answer from you, and you're just kind of trying to figure it out. And the more they kind of keep probing you, the less the less close, or the further away you are from figuring out, the more they ask you about it. And that makes sense too. Again, the Page of Swords repeating, just again, that lack of clarity, that lack of knowing where we're going. And with the Four of Wands here, it may feel like almost as if you're kind of, it's a very delicate situation. Like you're only being held up by these sticks, and it's like, how are they even holding it up, right? It might be a situation like that. Like, how is this even sustaining itself? How are we even in this situation where like it's very precarious, right? Like I don't know which way to go. Like the slightest of breeze might knock it over. So very interesting, very interesting. Let's look at some outcome cards for you here, Taurus, and see what we got for you here. What do we have, Taurus? Oh, we've got the Ten of Swords, the Judgment card, and the Two of Wands again. I like how the Two of Wands has repeated on both ends here. It's a good sign. It's saying that like you're going to have stability regardless. Like you're in a good stable place, and in the future you're also going to be in a good stable place, right? That's kind of like the Two Wands holding up everything there. On that Four of Wands, it's like there's a through line here of stability. So I like that. That's really good. Things may look precarious now, but we're heading in a good direction, which repeats, of course, with the Six of Swords as well. So that's really awesome. With the Ten of Wands, jumping Jehoshaphat. With the Ten of Swords here, it's talking about something's going to come to an end quickly. So I feel like things are going to move along quite quickly for you. Like it's going to have like a rip the Band-Aid off moment where you're just going to go, aha, right? Like it's kind of come to you. So I like that. And with a Judgment card here, you're going to be committing to something. You're going to be very much committing to like, this is the path I'm choosing, right? Once you have that clarity. So that's awesome. Let's clarify this, and then after we do that, we'll tie everything off with an oracle card for you. So hopefully this has been helping you out. Hopefully this has been resonating with you here, Taurus. All right, what do we got here for you? We got the Wheel. I think that's come up quite a bit today. We got the Ace of Pentacles, and we got the Tower. Yeah, Tower is that big change coming. for sure. The Tower is a big time change coming for you here. So this is going to be a path maybe you ever thought about going before, or a big time shift for you at this time as well. Or maybe just a shift in the status quo between you and somebody you might be dealing with this week as well. With the wheel here, just things are going to be moving in whatever direction you want them to be going in. And as long as you keep putting out like positivity or putting out whatever you want to see into the world, the wheel's going to keep giving it back to you. So that's beautiful. I like that the Ace of Pentacles is also kind of similar to the wheel here, that kind of spherical shape, that's sort of like rolling ball sort of object, or that spinning wheel here. So very interesting with that, the similarities there. But the Ace of Pentacles really tells us about something that is hopeful for the future. It's something that is a little different, because you'll notice here with like these cards in particular, there's definitely a medieval theme to them, right? But the Ace of Pentacles is a hot air balloon sort of thing going on here. So it's almost as if like technology is being brought in, almost like that big change, like with the Tower. It's sort of something new here that's bold and something different and something that could pay off big time down the line. So I like that. I like that we're heading towards that. And I like that once you get this clarity, you're going to be in that kind of a headspace. So that's beautiful. So let's tie this all off with an oracle card here and see what we got. Just got to be, patient and work through it really to kind of get there, it feels. What do we got for your oracle card? Hopefully it's been helping you out and resonating with you. We got the Bobcat Spirit saying life is a mystery, and it really is. Life is a big time mystery for everybody. Nobody really knows what they're doing in life. You know what I mean? I've heard people talk about how when you're a kid, you're like, oh, adults have this all figured out, right? They know what they're doing and everything. And then you become an adult and you're like, they do not know what they're doing. Nobody knows what they're doing. And that's kind of what the Bobcat Spirit's saying here. Everything's kind of a mystery and we're working towards stuff. And maybe this is something for you that just kind of, as you work through this in the coming future here and try to figure out what you want to do, what kind of clarity you're going to go for, it might be just one of those things where you needed to kind of struggle through this and, search and do some soul searching and, work through this, that it brought you to this new path that you're like, wow, I never considered this before, right? And, those kind of serendipitous moments where somebody's like suggests something to you and you're like, wow, that's crazy. That works so good. I'll just tell you this little story before I go here. There's a professional wrestler. You may have heard of him, especially if you were around in the 90s, named Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Stone Cold, when he first came to the WWF at the time, he pitched this idea of being this sort of like hitman type guy, this kind of serial killer that there used to be a cleaner guy for the mafia name, and his nickname was the Iceman. And he kind of pitched this idea to the WWF, and they came back at him with all these like temperature-based, all these temperature-based like names and stuff, like Frost McFreeze and Otto Von Ruthless and stuff, right? Like all these stupid things, right? And he's like, this is ridiculous. And he's at home with his wife, and his wife is British, and she sets some tea down with him for him to drink, and she said, you best get to that soon, it's gonna get stone cold. And then he's like, that's it, right? Like, you kind of, sometimes you have to go through a challenge to have like the right answer kind of show up for you in a weird way. So hopefully that's helped you out. Hopefully that's resonated with you. If you want to help out the channel, you can hit that like button, that thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel as well. Helps out a ton. Also helps you find this easier so you can check out your Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign videos, not just this week, but every week hereafter. Thanks for being here, and I hope to see you in the next video.